the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Dr. Rebecca Peck is my guest today on the program. She is a medical physician living in the state of Florida, and she is standing on the front line in the fight against the constitutional amendment trying to give access to abortion through all 9 months of a woman's pregnancy and to deregulate abortion, putting women in harmful medical circumstances, including minors. On the line is Hector from Palm Springs, California. Hector, welcome to Trending. What's your question or comment today?
Well, I don't have a question. Like I was explaining to your screener, I just happened to be driving through the area going to visit a friend. I got switched over to your programming, and I believe truly in all freedoms, and I respect all religions. I was raised Catholic. And you know what? Look, I'm not judging anybody, but I really took offense at some of the things that are being said because, again, I don't care what her political leanings are or yours, but there's so much divisiveness in our country right now. You know what? You all sound pretty educated and intelligent. You're going to preach what you preach.
Hector, thank you for your call. I'm just kind of starting off by saying we actually haven't talked about politics at all. And it's unfortunate that abortion has become a political issue because that's not fair or right. It's so-called procedure that hurts a mom and kills a baby. So I'm not sure what I know politics does get involved in this, but to setting politics aside, I do want to thank you because you started out by saying that you believe in all freedoms. So you're saying, it sounds like, Hector, that you believe that a woman should have a right to kill her baby via abortion. Is that correct?
You could put it the way you want, kill it, whatever you want. Like I said, if you truly believe in religion, like I said, I was raised Catholic. You know what? We each individually, if that's what you believe, you're going to be accountable. And to make someone feel like they don't have options, that's not right. And there's exceptions to everything. To take such a staunch, hard line on something, I just don't agree with that. And I'm just saying that women, it's easy to sit back and Monday morning quarterback, should have, could have, would have. You know what? I praise people that try to advocate and inform people because I agree. The better informed you are, hopefully you're going to make the best decision. And I'm not saying that you're trying to preach to people, but you know what? Every situation is unique in and of itself. And I think you shouldn't make someone feel guilty or try to, lay a guilt trip on somebody. It's a tough decision to make that kind of a decision, So, like I said, I just kind of heard what I heard, and maybe it's just my personal experiences with the Catholic Church and what have you. And like I said, there's just so much darkness in our country right now. I'm just tired of the divisiveness and the negativity. And whether it's cloaked in religion or politics, I just don't agree. And maybe I'm way off here, but I just listened to it and I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. And I'm not a person that calls in. I'm really not. But that's how much it resonated with me that I just had to and maybe I'm missing the point, but the bottom line is that whatever your doctor, your guest experience is, that's hers. But there's so many different circumstances that come up into play. And the other thing that I like to share, I spent over 32 years serving with my community, my city, the city of Los Angeles, as a police officer with LA. So there's a lot that I've seen, a lot that I've experienced. So it's coming from a place of experience and just having respect for other people. That's all. That's really what I wanted to get across. So,
yeah, Hector, so I'm going to jump in here because I like that we're having this conversation, and I'll just start by saying not to jump in and credential up. I get it. Thank you for your service in serving our country and working as a police officer. I see that you have seen some of the worst of worst circumstances, and I get it when people see the worst of life, the brokenness, the impact of the system, bad parents, children who are in broken homes. I understand that, but that doesn't justify whether or not we should determine whether or not an innocent child should live or die. And I want to backpedal a little bit because you've kind of made these comments like Dr. Peck is my guest, and she just shared her abortion testimony, having had 2 abortions before the age of 25. But do you know anyone personally who has had an abortion? Because I know you're saying that's her experience and her pain is her pain, but the reality is that I worked for over 6 years in the crisis pregnancy center with women who were abortion minded and were convinced they didn't have choices and had to have an abortion. Some who for the first time heard there were other options. And what I saw unanimously is that women, when they were actually given assistance and other options and ideas, most of them didn't actually ever want the abortion, but because abortion was legal, it was really the only option that they were leaning toward when things were difficult or when they couldn't wrap their mind around a child. And those women who did move forward and have the abortion, we would try to work with them because they would experience such pain and chaos after that abortion. So my question for you, Hector, is, do you know anyone who has had an abortion?
Absolutely. Yes, I do.
Has it touched you personally?
Well, I mean, I've been down that road and I've been there for that person. So all I'm trying to say is that it's not a one size fits all approach. Okay. And you know what? I'm 63 years old. So obviously, things have changed quite a bit, but, like I said, all I have a problem with is that when it gets too extreme, I hear what you're saying. And maybe there are a significant number of women, as you said, that felt like there's no other options. But the hypocrisy for me, the contradiction is, but what about when these children are brought into these difficult socioeconomic, circumstances? And we're a country that there should be no poverty in this country. We should allocate funding to help people in need. It's easy to say that, but where are these people now? When these single moms or parents or whatever are struggling financially to feed those children that, as you put, weren't killed.
Yeah, Hector, there's so much that we could get into. And I think that our pregnancy resource centers are an incredible help. And unfortunately, here's what's crazy, Hector. They don't receive any government funding in most cases because they don't offer abortion. And what I've seen the pregnancy resource centers do is that they help women in all of their circumstances. Help pay, and I've worked in one for years. I've seen them help with tuition assistance, help find housing, help to babysit a baby while a mom is maybe needing to do some work, or maybe she's having to work through a college course. And we've helped put women through college, helped to buy them a new car. So what I'm getting at is that it sounds like there are multiple concerns you have over the issue of abortion, of wanting to help make sure that there's support for women and children. I'm completely with you on that. Government could do more, but also our local communities can do a lot, and so do our pregnancy resource centers. But on the flip side, it does sound a little bit like you're deflecting. It sounds like you personally have been impacted by abortion and have participated in one. And I can't imagine, Hector, what you've been through, the circumstances in which you were in to have to face that. But here's what I do want to encourage you to see. And I know this is really painful to even consider. I believe that abortion has hurt you, and that's why you're angry right now. Doesn't have to do with politics, doesn't have to do with the church, although it does. You were Catholic. There's nothing that can't be forgiven, and whatever circumstances you were in, whatever your involvement was with that woman, I know that God can forgive any circumstance that we've put ourselves in, anything that we've done. And my hope for you, because you had a very reasonable conversation here, is that you can ponder, why am I so angry right now over this issue of abortion? And what am I going to do with it? And I want to invite you, come home to the Catholic Church. Pray for the woman who you were involved with. Go and ask God's forgiveness. And I'm going to pray for you. We all who are listening, I'm asking to pray for Hector right now for healing to move past your participation in abortion. Because I think that's where this anger and frustration really is coming from. Because you and I agree we should have more resources for women and children. You and I agree that every person's circumstance is unique. But at the end of the day, abortion hurts a woman, kills a baby, and hurts the father. Dr. Peck, you've shared your testimony here about having been there. You had one abortion at the age of 17, your second by the age of 25. And these were the catalysts of such pain, alcohol abuse, unhealthy relationships. And when you learned information about your adoptive mother, about how she heroically had chosen life for you, even in the face of the circumstances of having been date raped, and how she paused her education to place you for adoption, it was the catalyst of looking in reflectively at yourself and what you had done. And ultimately you went running to confession. Can you share with me a little bit about healing after abortion, especially after the call we just had from Hector? And I know we have a lot of people on the line right now who disagree with even not giving the access to abortion to all women. Where do you see healing from abortion is so important? And can you share a little bit about that journey for you?
I receive healing in this work that I do. I mean, this weekend I just spoke at about 5 different places, and I get people like Hector and other people that come up to me and talk to me. I would like to comment on Hector's comments. I mean,
yes,
this isn't political. This is, since when is thou shalt not kill political? That's what I say when I ask pastors if I can come into their churches, because they're very worried about the tax exempt status, which they worry if they can't, endorse a candidate, but they can get behind issues. And abortion is a moral, ethical issue. It's not a political issue. When is thou shalt not kill political? It's not political. He also said that it was too extreme. My position, standing for the baby, is too extreme. Well, let me tell you what's too extreme. Right now, across our state, we've got amendments allowing the killing of the unborn up until birth. That is too extreme. A day before the birth, that is too extreme. What we're saying, for example, in Florida, he bemoaned the fact that, these parents that bring these kids in and they don't have enough money, then let's fix poverty. Let's not make a killing of the baby until birth legal. Let's fix the problems of poverty. And Governor DeSantis, our beautiful governor here, did just that. He provided $25 million when he passed the Heartbeat Protection Act for women suffering from financial consequences from unplanned pregnancy and for the pregnancy crisis centers. Nobody ever talks about that. The other side is using misinformation to saying somehow we cannot treat patients because of this, because we're criminalizing abortion. That is simply not true. They are using fear to pass the regulation of killing of babies up to birth. And they will not stop there, because once you're allowed to kill a baby before birth, what do you think happens to the disabled next? What about our elderly? It's just a small step until you start legalizing assisted suicide, euthanasia, killing of the disabled. So our Catholic faith is the only faith that recognizes, like 96% of biologists who aren't even Catholic, life begins at conception. And Catholics have always believed, let us protect the life from the moment of conception until natural death. I mean, that is the good and true and scientific basis. Catholicism is based on science, and it's also merciful, because we do recognize that adoption is merciful for the mother. She doesn't have to go through a life of regretting, because I know a lot of women that regret their abortion and none that regret having their child.
Even in the cases of rape and incest. I think that's such an important point, because as I think Hector kept throwing in there, we're Catholic and we're throwing these issues around and judging people. But the reality is that even if you didn't believe as Catholics that abortion is intrinsically wrong and killing, objectively speaking, scientifically speaking, abortion hurts a woman. It doesn't benefit a woman, and how society has gone with the view of the human person since we have legalized abortion has been so degrading and so wasteful. And so I'm so grateful, Dr. Peck, for you, your story, your advocacy. This entire episode of Trending with Timmerie is on the Relevant Radio app. The Relevant Radio app is completely free and updated daily with fresh articles, podcasts, and prayers. Don't delay, download the app today, and thanks for listening.